for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome in. P-Man here with you, Patrick Johnson Show on this Tuesday as we rock and roll here. And great to have Dom Kasolki in today. Dom is the producer extraordinaire and co-host of today. You know what that means? That means that Dom's mom will be tuning into the show.
Yep.
Because otherwise she would never tune into the show.
You know it.
Just me, but she tunes in when Dom is on.
I think we're going to lose.
Dom actually thought we were going to win last Thursday, and Dom, you were wrong.
I was wrong.
Correct on that one. You were not accurate.
Yeah, you can't always be right. Maybe I was blindly.
You were right that one time.
That's because I was just being real. I'm always being real. I was being real last week. We had a chance to win. We didn't go our way. I mean, we could have gotten blown out. So, wish we pulled it off, but it could have been a lot worse of a look.
How are you, Dom? Is everything good in your world? I know we worked together last Thursday, but
that was
everything good with you today?
That was my last day for a little bit. I got a little fall break stretch. I got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. That never happened. So I'm well rested and ready to be back on the Patrick Johnson Show. It's been a little while. It's Pirate Game Day Countdown sometimes when you're on, but it's been a while since I'm on with you.
Did you, Dom Kasolki, go to the beach, or did you go somewhere else for your?
Well, it was raining.
Break?
It was pouring all weekend long, unfortunately. So I literally just stayed at home, watched. There's college football, NFL football, more NFL football on Monday. It's just laying on my couch and hanging out with my parents and my cats, and that is the life for me.
Well, it could be worse. There's worse fates.
Oh, 100%. I'm a happy man.
Yeah. All right, so last Friday we were going to have Pat Welter on from WRAL Sports, and Pat was the guy who initially reported on all the Bill Belichick stuff that was going on. And as a result of that, the floodgates opened. We were going to have Pat on last Friday. His schedule did not permit, sort of a last-minute postponement. Pat is on today, so we're going to talk to Pat Welter. This is a good time to talk to him because yesterday Belichick had a press conference, and among the things that he had to say included...
It's a learning curve. We're all in it together, but we're making a lot of progress, and the process will eventually produce the results that we want to produce like they have everywhere else I've been, so I'm very confident in that. Players are working hard. They're getting better.
All right, so Pat Welter on that coming up a little bit later on. In fact, I think that might have been the answer to his question. Also, we'll have our Harrell Huddle, head coach Blake Harrell joining Henry Hinton and myself for Healthwise Pharmacy. That is coming up later on. But right now, let's do the top 5 at 5.
All right, do you got the numbers going? I don't know if I don't have the numbers here myself.
The numbers. Do you have the introduction piece for it?
Oh, yeah, duh. What am I talking about?
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
It's impossible.
Now some stories you may have heard.
You ready?
Or catch it for the first time. This is your 5 at 5 with the P-Man.
I was feeling that way. I started talking about it, so I felt like I was back on the couch. I wasn't paying attention as much as I should have. I was thinking about my first 5 at 5.
Pilkington doesn't pay attention during the show, so why should you, right?
Well, I'm paying attention.
Number 1.
All right, that was different. But number 1, we got ECU's football 2026 conference home and away opponents have been released. FAU,
Whoa.
big whoa, FAU, Rice, Temple, and South Florida, you scared me there, will all play here at Dowdy-Ficklin. ECU will have to travel to play Army, Memphis, Charlotte, and UAB, which means ECU misses out on a few top teams in the conference in Tulane, North Texas, and UTSA.
Yeah, that is interesting. Let me find it here. I had it in front of me, and then it went away. Of course, I could have just listened to what you just said. I think that's a great point, Dom. But I'm a visual learner. I think.
Yeah, I got you.
I think it was you make a great point there. So let's start with the road games because I think that's the more intriguing in the conference than the home games, to be quite honest. You go to Charlotte, but here's the thing I will say: out of the 8 you're playing, to me, I could only give you with any certainty next year what I think is going to happen. And call it tough being a Pirate, call it ECU luck. But you get UAB after they fired Trent Dilfer. And he didn't win a road game, didn't win many home games.
Nope.
And so instead of getting UAB under Dilfer, which was in a tailspin, you're going to get him with a new coach. And so, to me, that becomes a tougher road game.
Yeah, you don't.
My guess is I don't think they are dripping with NIL or rev share money, but I have a feeling they're going to go out and spend some money, unless the coordinator that took over, who is the son of the late ESPN football guru analyst. Anyway, unless it's a Blake Harrell situation where the interim just reels off a bunch of wins for UAB and they hire him, I think they're going to try to go out and get somebody that's a relative name or an up-and-comer, and there's going to be some excitement.
We talking about Alex Mortensen?
Yes, who is
Mortensen,
the late Chris Mortensen's son. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Wonderful job there, Dom. On top of it quickly. I like that.
I had to be.
We get you in every day.
No.
The only thing about what do you mean no? The thing about
I'm not full-time.
Army, the thing about going to Army is they're going to have their stadium complete. So you'll be playing in a new stadium up there, and that's a pretty good trip. You go to Memphis, which, who knows what's going to be going on at Memphis next year, because, certainly I would think their coach is going to be in line for a job possibly. And Charlotte, there's the rivalry factor there, but Charlotte is a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah, I mean, lost to them last time we played them in Charlotte. We don't want to talk about that game too much, but those are.
That's why you don't. That's what you don't know.
Yeah.
The home games, again, you can't really, because USF, if they make the playoff, their coach is going to be gone. Even if they don't make the playoff, their coach could be gone. You don't know what FAU and Rice is going to be like. Rice has shown the commitment that they will spend some money to bring players in. It's just, can they? And will they do that with this guy from Davidson? They'll be in the second year with him at the helm, so that you would think they'd be better. And same thing with Temple. The guy will be a second-year guy coming in here. So I'm hoping that the way they lost to Navy kind of breaks Temple and makes that November 1st game a little more palatable. I'm a little concerned about that, to be honest with you. But first things first, the Pirates have to take care of Tulsa. My analysis spot on as always, I'm sure, Dom. Do you have anything to add to it, though? Because it was really so perfect, I don't know if you really can. But
yeah,
I'll yield the time to you here.
Well, I was thinking that the home opponents are much more winnable opponents, I guess, name factor basis. So
well, yeah, but you don't know what's, because again, you'll have a couple of programs that are in the second year of a guy who's probably not going anywhere. USF may have a first-year head coach, but
I agree.
In the playoff, they're going to invest money into it. So, I mean, the only thing I can tell you with any certainty is that UAB will at least be better coached than they were under Dilfer.
Well, either way, I think Army and Memphis, outside of the South Florida home game, I think will be two of our harder conference games. So if we have FAU, Rice, and Temple at home, I feel like those are must-win games, essentially, because you got to win the games that you're supposed to win. So you go and win those games, and you have some tougher ones away. But I like that we missed Tulane and North Texas because they're looking good this year.
Well, I'd like another crack at Tulane, but maybe sooner than later. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't like losing to Tulane.
Number 2.
I'm not a Tulane fan. I've become not a Tulane fan.
Well, if you like ECU, why would you be? Number 2, exactly. As you just played, Trey Savage got the start last night and didn't have it like he did against the Yankees. He went 4 innings, 5 earned run, 3 walks, and 4 Ks. But I must say that first inning was not umpired particularly well against Trey. It led to a 3-run bomb after questionable calls. Ended up being a walk and a hit by pitch. But now Seattle is now up 2-0 over the Jays after the 10-3 win.
Yeah, the game was on, and you could glance up at it periodically. You know, we were in the midst of my show when the game started, and then hosting the network show with Blake Harrell once everything got going. So it was a little hard to kind of pay attention to what exactly was happening, moment in, moment out there. I didn't see, and I had not seen it this morning when we talked about it on the morning show. I've since seen it, and it was a bad call. But, can you say that is the reason he gave up a 3-run home run? No, he still had a chance to get people out.
No, I agree. It's just tough. I mean, sometimes that that momentum. I think I agree, but
air is human. And then his team came back and tied it up, Dom. It wasn't like that he got pulled. I mean, they stuck with him, and the Jays came back and tied the game up. He couldn't hold it at a tie or even hold it to where they could get a lead.
Well, like I said, he didn't have it. He didn't have it like he did against the Yankees, and I know he didn't. I just think it could have been a little bit better. I think when you start out a game like that with a couple of walks and then a bomb, I mean, the momentum, I believe, is real.
Who are the walks on? Who are the walks? I mean, throw strikes.
Throw strikes is
decide the inning.
It doesn't. But when it turns into something, maybe I'm just making excuses because I like Trey and I've been watching him my last couple of years here at ECU, so maybe I am making excuses. But, I mean, I'd do the same thing if it was a Red Sox pitcher or any pitcher for that matter. If you're not getting the calls and then it ends up turning into runs, it's obviously still your fault because you let up the home run, but it just hurts that little bit more.
As the beneficiary of a terrible strike call in a win in the wild card round against the Padres,
yes, that was awful. Wow.
I think the umpires do stink, though. They absolutely do. And look, I will say this: tough spot to be in starting in a must-win game.
It is game 2 of both series
in the LCS. Against a Seattle team that has a ton of momentum right now. Who'd have thought Seattle would have had all the momentum after going 15 innings on Friday night against Detroit? But
nobody
thought they'd have been dead dog tired. But
before you go to number 3, I know we are stuck on time. I want to go on the other side of the baseball NLCS. We got Dodgers ace Blake Snell through 8 scoreless innings with 10 strikeouts, and the win didn't come easy. It was 2-0 heading to the 9th. The Brewers scored 1 with a sac fly from Jackson Churio and later loaded the bases, but Bryce Turang, I don't know if you saw this, would strike out with the bases loaded. He could have taken you got to wear that pitch. I don't know if you were watching and you saw it, he should have worn the pitch. It would have hit him in the knee. It was a slider, 83. You take that pitch with the bases loaded in the NLCS. Next pitch, he strikes out.
The thing to me that I like about this is I don't like the Brewers because I just don't like the Brewers. They eliminated my Cubs.
Yeah.
As much as the Cardinals are the rivals of the Cubs, I really despise the White Sox and the Brewers. And the Brewers fans can't get enough of the fact that they eliminated the Cubs. They're more happy about that. That was their Super Bowl.
Yep.
That was their World Series.
Well, I feel like they always
demolished them tonight. Here's the other thing. You young people with your advanced numbers and your launch angle and your spin rate and your .coms and your matchups, and we're going to go to the book and we're going to do this based on the analytics. I love this pitching. We got great pitching in Game 1 between Seattle and Detroit where starters went deep. Snell goes deep. That did my old man heart good. I loved it. I love that.
3.
We got a Monday Night Football doubleheader last night. Atlanta and Buffalo and Washington versus Chicago. Atlanta's D-line continues to impress as they gave last year's MVP Josh Allen a tough time all night. On top of that, Bijan Robinson looked like the best skill player in the league. Atlanta wins 24-14. And you had the Bears jump out to an early 13-0 lead over the Commanders due to 2 early turnovers. That ended up being the deciding factor towards the end of the game as Jaden Daniels loses his handle on a handoff on a game-sealing drive. Chicago would hit a game-winning field goal with a kicker, Jake Moody, that just got picked up off the waivers. So there you go. You never know what's going to happen. In bad weather, Jake Moody makes a game-winning field goal, goes 4 for 5.
So here's let's start with the first game first in Atlanta. And that was obviously, everything seems to be pointing to this with the fact that the Bills played rather listlessly. Allen didn't have the receiver Samuel, so that he doesn't have that weapon there. Atlanta had more guys banged up that are contributors than Buffalo. In fact, Buffalo had some guys back. They've lost 2 in a row now. Their secondary is really bad right now.
Yep.
The secondary of Buffalo, highly questionable. So let's look at what this means for the AFC. The Patriots are in first place now. The Bills, since they lost to the Pats, are in second in the AFC East. It's going to be a 2-horse race there.
Who would have thought?
Who are the best two, record-wise, who are the best 2 teams right now, Dom?
Oh, well, I was
AFC.
I was about to look it up. I didn't get there yet. I do know one of them is going to be the Colts because I know they squeaked out a win against the Cardinals.
4-1 Steelers.
Who would have thought those would be the top 2?
Who would have thought that? Those are with 2 quarterbacks that were supposedly damaged goods. Even Aaron Rodgers, damaged goods. He's got them off to 4-1.
Both could have been Vikings.
Actually, yeah, it could have been. Could have been. And Daniel Jones. I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers is doing other than maybe just having a calming influence. Daniel Jones is playing great, but he has an offensive line. That's a tough loss on the other side for Washington. Because right now, Philly's not playing well. Could have tied them with the Eagles. Instead, they remain a game back. And the Bears are one of 3 or 4 teams that have won 3 in a row now. And so the NFC North all of a sudden gets a little more interesting.
It's rough out here, man. I can't do it anymore. Why do we have to have such a hard division?
DJ Moore, apparently, who got hit in the first quarter, kind of limped off, but came back on. The former Panther actually played like 60 snaps, played the final 7 snaps before they kicked it and won. Apparently, he was hospitalized in Washington after.
Oh my gosh! He hobbled all game.
Ben Johnson said he's day to day, but they were expecting him to go back to Chicago tonight.
Interesting. So, I did not know that.
Yeah. There you go. Well, that's why you tune into the top 5 at 5.
4.
All right. What do we got, Dominic?
ECU football now in another conference game this Thursday coming up versus Tulsa. Here's head coach Blake Harrell on playing the tempo offense.
Yeah, I think tempo, you got to know how to use the tempo. We actually won the time of possession the other night. Some people think just because you go tempo, you're going to go, be out there offensively about 20 minutes and be out there defensively about 40 minutes. But I think we won the time possession by 30 seconds or a minute or so. But there's a key situation. You got the defense tired. They have some really good D linemen that you're trying to, keep those guys in there when they're tired. And it's a chance to opportunity to go tempo in there and just keep them on the field. And, especially if you're hitting some positive plays. You've got them on their heels, so to speak, so you want to continue to attack. No different than a boxer would, or no different than you would, certain scenarios in life. But I thought we'll do that and continue to do that and use some different tempos as well, whether it be shifts, motions, movements, or huddle speed break or tempo. We got down there at the 1 yard line. We're trying to tempo them as well, and they zeroed out and just didn't think it was the right time to run inside zone. So we tried to change up personnels, and had guys going every which way, and Darius thinks he hears a clap and slides the ball between his legs, and we had a penalty there. So again, that's an opportunity where we missed. We only got 3 out of it instead of 7, and obviously love to have that back. So we got to do a better job of executing and being more consistent about how we do things down there. When it's probably the most important part of the field.
I think it's a couple of things that have to happen. We're going to hear from Coach Harrell in our Harrell Huddle for Healthwise Pharmacy coming back. I think, like Army, you have to come out with your hair on fire and get off to a fast start. And I think you need to push the ball downfield. If there's an area that Tulsa is suspect, it is in the secondary. So if you can protect up front, and there are some concerns along the offensive line now with a couple of injuries there and some depth issues. If you can hold out long enough and allow the Pirates to go vertical, Hauser's got to be able to throw the vertical ball with some accuracy. You can't have receivers slowing down or having to reach back or come back to get it every single time. You need to lead them a little bit. So that needs to get buttoned up a little bit more. I think there'll be a lot of energy in the building. I really hope there are a lot of people there. I don't know how big the crowd is. It's going to be great weather. You can't beat the weather Thursday night. If you love football, like all y'all say you do,
yeah,
And then you need to be in this because there's not even a chance of rain. It's going to be chilly but not cold, and it's a national game, and you can take Friday off. So
yeah, sunny 66.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's perfect.
Beautiful
I mean, that's like maybe a little sweatpants and a t-shirt. You're out there getting rowdy in the dowdy.
5.
I don't know what that means. All right, what do we got? Yeah, I do know what it means. Go ahead.
Bettors in North.
You get rowdy in the dowdy that night, Dom?
I got to work it, unfortunately, back here. But, I enjoy working it, so no complaints. Bettors in North Carolina wagered more than $686 million in total bets, a new monthly high in September. $32 million of that in promotional wagers. The previous record was $685 million in March of this year.
True. Well, that was, of course, March Madness, and that's big in these parts of the world, college basketball. It's the start of the NFL, and it's a damn shame we have not had this do-nothing set of lawmakers come up with a budget, especially a budget where ECU would maybe get a lot more of the tax revenue from sports gambling to help ECU on a competitive advantage front as far as rev share and just other things go and a major income stream. So I love the House version of what to do with that tax money. That tax will continue to flow in. I mean, ECU is still getting a portion of the tax revenue for that, but not what they could get if this do-nothing legislature in Raleigh would actually do something instead of, I'm not going to. They're going to redo a voting machine. Whoop-de-doo. All right. Let us take a break, and when we come back, Harrell Welter of WRAL Sports on Bill Belichick. They held a press conference in Chapel Hill yesterday. Nothing to see here, says Bill. We'll talk to Harrell Welter on the BJ Show next.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wade, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today, Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
We're back to the show.
I missed you. We all missed you. Did you miss him?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Bill Belichick addressing the media yesterday, and it really got into a firestorm after the Clemson game. Pat Welter from WRAL Sports was the first to report and report on the strife that surrounds the Tar Heel football program now. Pat was going to be with us Friday, but the biz got in the way. We're happy to have Pat Welter on our humble little radio clubhouse here because he's been making the rounds on the national shows. So we're very happy to have him here on our little program. So, Pat, good to talk to you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to stay grounded. This has been a whirlwind. I've been working on this since the spring. Had it close to publishing Friday before the Clemson game. We could have published it Friday, but with talking with my bosses, we did some more reporting Saturday at the Clemson game, then Sunday, and then wrote it Sunday. It goes through this whole process. And when it comes out Monday, I knew it was going to be big news. I didn't think it would be this. And, here we are a week later. Belichick takes the podium and has to address it. And, his stance is, that they're improving was kind of the message yesterday.
Right.
And that the strife in the locker room was not his view. So everything's rosy. We're going to find out on Friday because if they're improving and everything's fine, let's see it on the football field.
Yeah. Are you all going now? I mean, back in the heyday of the Big Five, somebody might have gone on the trip, but TV and the media biz is what it is. But I mean, given the scope of the story, I mean, just out of my own sort of morbid media nerd curiosity, will you be heading out west, or will anybody be heading out west with the group?
It was certainly a discussion. We don't normally go on the road, to that extent. We might go somewhere like Clemson, South Carolina, or Atlanta, Georgia. But as far as like flying to Cal for a regular season game, that's not normally the case. But it kind of dawned on me Sunday, and I was like, I think I need to be at this game. So it was a discussion. But as things have at least cooled down for the moment, and I'll tell you, there's more leads I'm working on. But at this point, it does feel a little bit like if I were to just release some new nugget or anecdote I have, it probably feels like piling on at this point because to a certain point, the story gets saturated with these details of and a lot of this is little becomes big. Like a lot of the things wrong with Belichick's program, based on what I'm hearing, they are little things, but they're adding up collectively to create kind of a culture issue, communication problems, division problems that are showing themselves on the field as well. So yeah, at the moment we're not going to go to Cal. I wish I could. It's like you said, you understand the media landscape. So yeah, we're going to stay on it. We're going to see because it's certainly a big game Friday night as far as a turning point for Bill Belichick.
Pat Welter, WRAL Sports on the Patrick Johnson Show here today. I want to ask you, just to kind of get clarification, because as you say, it's kind of been a whirlwind week and a half approximately since, you dropped the story and then started reporting on it from a broadcast perspective too. you weren't in your article, and correct me if I'm wrong here. Again, there's so much stuff to kind of swirl around and follow on this, and it's not our primary deal, but I find it really, really interesting. But it seemed like your reporting talked about the strife, talked about the issue with the tickets, some of the things going on, the lack of communication during the open week, and then that's where all of a sudden other people started to sort of start reporting on things as there have been talks of the early buyout, which has been categorically denied and what have you. So just from that timeline and what you're reporting, and as we kind of sit here today, what you're able to report publicly, would you mind just maybe surmising that for the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I'm having trouble keeping track of it to a certain extent because there's been so much. And no lie, you got to give credit to the people that do this full time, investigative style reports and breaking news reports, Adam Schefter's of the world. I mean, because to do this last week, to stay ahead of it, I mean, I was basically working close to 20 hours a day. Whether I was exactly working, but even when I was laying in bed, unable to sleep, I'm just going over every detail, thinking who I could call next to kind of chase down things. And after the story broke, we were able to kind of have a couple other things come out. I heard of a fight in the locker room. There was the story we reported. Our initial report led to the suspension of cornerbacks coach Armand Hawkins. And that was for the extra benefits, which was related to the tickets that were being handed out to different families and sideline pass related to kind of that. And then we had more information on Hawkins about a confrontation at practice. And it was our belief that the detrimental actions that UNC was looking into further on Hawkins were related to that. Then there was kind of the exit strategy report that came out. And again, it's what constitutes an exit strategy? Are people that report is one of those things that I guess what I could tell you from the people I talked to, that yes, they all vehemently denied it, that Bill was never going to do his own buyout. So it was kind of like chasing that down and seeing who you could talk to. Because at that point, I was like, man, overnight, I'm in the center of this huge story, and I'm talking about it all over the country, and I need to know what's going on because I don't want to go out there and create a false narrative. So it was interesting to see how kind of the story snowballed and allowing me to speak to more and more people to kind of hopefully paint an even more accurate picture of what's going on. It's been interesting to see. I've gotten to talk to different national media people about this and bounce things off them, get advice. So it all led up to Bill Belichick's press conference yesterday, where he went out there and kind of stuck to his talking points of, they're improving, they're getting better, it's worked everywhere he's been, it's a process. And the people they put on stage, the player-wise, were, his first recruit ever from Holy Cross to Carolina, who played at the same school where his daughter is a coach, and then Andrew Simpson, who's been one of his best recruits on defense. So, again, you take what they say in the context of that. I'm not saying that they're lying. Again, to use that Bill's word, view wasn't his view that the locker room was divided, and maybe it's not the view of these guys either, who are maybe getting some of that better treatment than I discussed. I named a couple names in the initial report: Kamari House, Thaddeus Dixon, as far as guys that were getting a lot. And it just, a lot of the story too is disconnect in Bill's approach, the NFL approach to college, and kind of lacking a human touch to implementing it, and how that's gone over. Because, this NIL thing is new for everybody, and it's creating challenges in a lot of locker rooms. It's not exclusive to UNC, but when you come in with the hype that Bill Belichick did, the media circus that was the offseason, and the results are this bad, I think people are owed answers. And the idea that everything's perfect behind the scenes I don't think is a fair thing to just tell people when people care about this university and it's just gone so poorly. It's 5 games in. UNC's not ready to move on from them yet, but it's not going well. And at a minimum, I think some self-reflection needs to occur.
I think you bring up a good point. He's not a warm and fuzzy. Maybe with Hair Jordan he is, but he's not a warm and fuzzy, I guess, with people. And as you say, that's kind of that professional approach, at least that he implemented. Much different than what you kind of hear in the college game. But then, we hear, Pat, all the time, well, these guys want to be treated like professionals now. So is a little of this maybe sour grapes from, and I'm not trying to, smoke out your source here, but I mean, is a little bit of this, sour grapes from certain people who, hey, we want to be treated like the professionals we are and get paid for playing, which is a whole other discussion. But when a guy does that, all of a sudden, no, we don't know. It's just don't know if this is going to work.
I think it's certainly a factor, right? I have to acknowledge that. And, I would say this, yes, did I talk to a lot of sources related to Mac Brown era players? Yes. But did I reach out to players on the other side of it, parents on the other side of it as well? Yes. Sources within UNC, yes. Trying to get the full picture, and there just was not a lot of defense coming my way or refutes coming my way of the things I was hearing. And I even ran by, detail by detail, a lot of the things that we ended up publishing by a high-level person within UNC, just trying to understand, hey, these are the things I'm getting from multiple people. Is there a response here? Is there a rebuttal here? Is there another side? And I just really didn't get it. And I've said this on a lot of places I've gone, just walking around the Clemson game Saturday, just meeting people. Some of the people I talked to in the story I'd known for a long time. Others I had just met, and people I just met volunteering information about how bad it was. And these were some people that were these were people that should be maybe in a better spot, let's just say that, at UNC. So, and one person I talked to before the season was raving about Belichick, and then it's kind of been crickets about that ever since. So, I think I did my best to be fair and accurate as much as I could. Yeah, I think there certainly is a factor of the sour grapes, but I also think it's people not getting what they were promised beyond the money. I mean, these are transfer players that came here when they could have gone to other schools. These are Mac Brown era players that could have left and gone to other schools, potentially for more money, chose to stay to get coached by Bill Belichick, chose to get developed for the NFL. And as you mentioned yesterday, yes, they are bigger, faster, stronger. I have heard that. That's probably one positive I have heard. I have heard that Bill Belichick is still a great one-on-one coach. But as far as the film these kids are putting out, I think it was one of the other national reports, either The Athletic or ESPN, they had a source say there's not an NFL player on this roster.
Yeah.
That's not what was sold, right? And the fans and the boosters and the donors and the chancellor were sold that Bill Belichick was going to help take this team to the next step. Instead, he set them back massively. And, preaching patience, well, I get it in a vacuum. Yeah. Patience was never part of this path, really. When you're talking about a 73-year football coach, this was really a short-term thing, unless you had the idea that they were going to hand it down to Steve Belichick because it was just going so incredible that, well, how could we possibly, stay on these tracks? So that's kind of how I look on it based on my own view and everything I've learned through this report.
WRAL Sports, Pat Welter with us here. If they were 4-1, 5-0, or even the record that they have, or even 3-2, but it had been more competitive, had put a more, because there's a lot of eye test to this, and then you backed it up, I know, yesterday with some statistical facts, and obviously the public voting with I wouldn't say their checkbook because they've already bought the tickets, but leaving at halftime in disgust, I mean that's a fact. That's not perception. I mean they've left a couple of games in droves at the half or in the second half, going back to the TCU game. So I look at this and I ask, because look, fights in the locker room happen all the time, even in the best of circumstances, they happen. Would some of this be, as the way they played, maybe fed a little more into this, as you say, kind of snowballing?
Yeah, certainly, right? And that's not exclusive to UNC either, right? Like, one way this was explained to me from somebody within UNC was that, like exactly kind of what you just said. Like, when you're losing, everyone looks at it through one lens. When you're winning, some of these things might be championed as like a Remember the Titans kind of story of going through a hardship together to come together in the off season, and you go through tough times to have it perform on the field. But when it goes this badly, and I think there are examples of just how people are treated with just human decency. I mean, you talk about all the things I heard about Michael Lombardi. It just seems unnecessarily harsh and cold. And when you're not getting the results, people aren't going to necessarily stand for it. So, this isn't some huge scandal, at least at the current time. Now, that's not to say that more things couldn't come out about it, right? But at the current time, it's not a scandal. It's more a failure and a window into why. Because otherwise, all we just have is, like, we're just all sitting here seeing this team go from being, bowl game pretty much every year at a minimum, and at the maximum, like, competing to maybe make the ACC championship game. And now they are one of the worst teams in all of FBS. So there needs to be some explanation beyond that. And I think what I'm trying to do is try to give a window into that. So, I do acknowledge that a lot of these issues would happen on a lot of teams, but when the failure is this spectacular, I think that's where you need to bring in the unnamed sources to protect people so that you can understand how and why. And it really reminds me a lot of the Matt Rule disaster with the Carolina Panthers. And there was a similar report from The Athletic that kind of shed light on what was going on and how his college tactics just weren't going over at all with the Carolina Panthers. And really, this is kind of the other side of the coin.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Have you talked to anybody that, I don't want to say matters, but that's high enough maybe in the decision or influence sphere who has buyer's remorse?
Yeah, I got to be careful how I answer this. I would just say that, and I think a lot of this is reported, right? Like, this was an interesting hiring process, right? Like, there's Bubba Cunningham and the candidates that he wanted to put forward, John Summerall, Tommy Reese, and I'm not entirely sure in the timeline of what happened with Summerall. Like, did he not want to go to Carolina, or was that, kind of the John Pryor piece with Belichick kind of taking over? So this kind of became, the John Pryor-led hire with the trustees, and then getting the chancellor on board, and then the chancellor is ultimately the one that makes the decision. So, at other schools, when you think about the process, you probably typically think of the AD making the call. But so this Belichick one it was just an interesting story. And I covered the hiring process as well, and like Belichick, his name first was floated. Nobody took it seriously. I remember being at a Carolina basketball game right around that time, walking around, talking to people, and some people pretty high up would be like, "What's this Belichick thing?" They're like, "No way, no, it's not happening." And then like 2 days later, that same person was like, "It's real." And that's once I got that, I was like, "Holy cow!" And I was all in from did I necessarily think it was a good idea? Not really. I mean, I thought it had upside. I thought it was an interesting story, and I knew it was going to bring a ton of attention to UNC. So I was like, you know what? If they want to do this and they're going to vet it out, go for it. It's going to be a fascinating story to cover. It's either going to be a spectacular success or a spectacular failure. It just felt like that, and obviously it's been the other. So, I mean, I think, it's human for there to be buyer's remorse when all these people stuck their necks out to make this hire, and they marketed it all off season. They tried to fill out on, they embraced all of the attention, all the hype, and the TCU game was magical for that one drive. But it has been an absolute train wreck ever since, and now, they're a punchline. So, I mean, I think it's human to have some buyer's remorse, and I think that's why they're trying to hold steady. It's because they put so much into this. It's gone so bad. can they get maybe a little positive regression? Can they give them a chance? They like one, as the way it was painted to me by one person that was pretty high up, that like they knew that he didn't have college experience coming in, so now they have to help him, and he has to be willing to accept that help. And so I think that's kind of where we're at, as they are looking at our report and other reports. Like, they're trying to run down these details, explore them, and see if they can fix them. So that's all I can really ask for.
Pat Welter, WRAL Sports. Appreciate the time here. Is he coaching? I'm just going to run through a couple, posts here as far as dates. Is Bill Belichick coaching when Virginia comes to town?
I would say yes. Like, I mean, I think if he goes out there Friday and they get blown out, and people are still investigating what's going on in the locker room, I mean, I guess to a certain point, does it become untenable? But I guess just my thing with firing him mid-season is, like, unless there's some severe smoking gun, like, who do you hand it off to? Like, if you fire him mid-season, you almost might as well just forfeit the year and just let everybody go in the portal and just start from scratch there. Because, like, people are already looking at the portal, guys. Like, it's October. The portal's coming up. This is not going well. Things aren't going, that's going on in other schools too, but, like, I know it's going on there. And so I just don't know who you hand it to. You hand it to Steve Belichick, his son?
Yeah.
After he just fired his dad? You hand it to Freddie Kitchens, who's probably the guy that, if you were going to make a fall guy right now, outside of Armand Hawkins, who we've documented has done wrongdoing, a lot of times you just fire the offensive coordinator by default, but now you're going to make him the head coach for an offense that's underperformed. So it's just you're kind of caught.
It's a mess. It's a mess, as we say back home. It's a mess. Okay. Is NC State his last game?
If I was a betting man, I would say yes. I mean, I just look at this schedule. I look at what I've seen. I look at what I know. I look at the quarterback situation. I look at Thaddeus Dixon potentially being out for the season, who's been, if there is an NFL player, he's been it. And you're just like, where is it coming from? I mean, is there a miracle where Bryce Baker comes in? But, like, Bryce Baker was reduced to fourth string. Now, some of that, he's the prize recruit out of the Greensboro area, a true freshman quarterback. But, is that something related to his red shirt or something along those regards? I don't know. But it's hard for me to see them winning more than one more game. But it's sports. I got to acknowledge that anything's possible, that they could rally around this, that they could discover some talent on the roster, maybe at the quarterback position, in light of Spark. But I haven't seen anything that gives me reason to bet on that at this current time.
So, Pilk, you'd be right. He's not getting on the plane to go to – Pilk said all along he would not get on the plane to go to Ireland next year. Yeah. So there you go, Pilk.
I got somebody on my side. There we go. Thanks, Pat.
All right. Pat Welter, WRAL. Hey, thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it, and we'd love to talk to you again down the road if something interesting transpires out of all this.
Of course, yeah. I'm on the beat all year. I cover UNC, all Triangle sports, really. And, yeah, I'm going to keep pulling at threads, keep chasing down leads, and obviously cover the games, too. So, yeah, man, expect the unexpected. This is certainly the story of my lifetime so far. So, going to try to stay on it as best I can.
Yeah, all right, awesome. Pat Welter, WRAL Sports, good stuff there. All right, our Harrell Huddle when we come back here on the PJ Show.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you. Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
And now, the stunning conclusion. Why is everyone screaming? On 94.3 The Game.
Harrell Huddle, it's brought to you by Healthwise Pharmacy here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Earlier, we had a chance to speak to the head coach of the Pirates, Blake Harrell, asked him about the slow start at Tulane. And one of the positives was the defense stepped up as a result of the offense getting slow out of the gate.
We didn't jump out to the start we needed to start out with, and that I think ended up hurting us ultimately. It's really a tale of 2 different halves. It's 12-0, at the halftime. And then if you take away the last score we give them, which we kind of just let them score there and try to get the ball back, we outscored them 19-7 in the second half, and even if that's, we just scored them 19-14 in the second half. So we obviously got to get off to a better start and get going and get rolling. And some of that's just doing a better job of little things. And I think we talked about it all week. And hey, we got to do the little things better than anybody else and better than we have been. And that's locking in and doing those things. So I think our guys done a better job of attacking that this week. And in the first half, we just couldn't get the run game going like we needed to. And that kind of makes us sit there and get in some drop back pass situations. And the defense knows it's coming. They can kind of tee off. And Caden took a few sacks there, which put us behind the sticks as well. And really the field position played into their hands in the first half and really gave them the total advantage there.
Blake Harrell there. And if you want to hear the entire Harrell Huddle interview, tune in on Thursday to Talk of the Town on Talk 103.7 WTIB in Greenville and the northeastern stretches of eastern North Carolina, or 96.3 for our southern coastal markets, and you can also listen to it on the IBX Media app. All right, great job, Dom Kasolki, producing the show today. Always great to be with you.
Had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Pat Welter, yes, great job. Also, thanks to Pat Welter with WRAL Sports for being on with us. Glad to get him on. All right, preempted the next 2 days. We will be back on Friday. We'll post-mortem of ECU and Tulsa. Macy O'Donnell is scheduled to join us that day, as well as ECU softball coach. We'll talk with him as well. So that'll be coming up on Saturday, Friday. Mind cramp. All right, we'll see you in the morning on Talking the Town. Go Pirates beat Tulsa in a couple days.